A police officer was shot to death and another was seriously wounded Friday night in Kissimmee, Florida, in what the police chief said may have been an ambush while the two men were responding to a call complaining of suspicious activity on the city's north side. The two officers, both gravely injured, were found around 9:30 p.m. at the intersection of Palmway and Cypress Streets after residents reported the shooting, Chief Jeffrey Odell said. One of the officers, Matthew Baxter, who had been on the force for 3 years, later died. The other, Sergeant Sam Howard, a 10-year veteran, was reported to be in critical condition and the prognosis does not look good, Chief Odell said. The Kissimmee shooting was the first of 2 attacks on Florida police officers Friday night. 2 sheriff's officers in Jacksonville were also wounded when responding to a suicide call, officials said. In Kissimmee, about 20 miles south of Orlando, the shooting occurred during what Chief Odell called a consensual encounter to get out and check. 3 people have been arrested. 2 were among those being questioned at the time of the shooting, and the third is suspected of firing on the officers, Chief Odell said. Nobody was being placed in handcuffs, the chief said at a news conference early Saturday. If all things checked out, the officers would have been on their way. Chief Odell said officers are often called to North Kissimmee. Residents, he said, get tired of putting up with some of the drug dealing and nonsense that goes on in the neighborhood. He added, and we're doing our part to try to keep them safe, and then we have this tonight. Governor Rick Scott, in messages posted on Twitter, said he was heartbroken to hear of the loss of these 2 officers. Our prayers are with all of at Kissimmee Police, their loved ones. President Trump also weighed in with a Twitter message posted around 1:30 a.m. My thoughts and prayers are with the Kissimmee Police and their loved ones. We are with you in Jacksonville. 2 officers were shot around 11 p.m. on the city's west side as they responded to a call about an attempted suicide, said Director Mike Bruno of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. The officers' names were not released. One was said to be in critical condition and one in stable condition. When officers arrived at the scene of the reported suicide attempt, they were confronted by a man with a rifle, while 3 people hid in a back bedroom, Director Bruno said. In the ensuing gunfire, one of the officers was shot in the hands and one in the stomach. The gunman was killed, according to the sheriff's office. The 3 people hiding in the bedroom were not injured, Director Bruno said. A police shooting was also reported Friday night in Fairchance, Pennsylvania, where 2 state police troopers were shot in their car in a supermarket shopping center, according to ABC News and WXPI in Pittsburgh. The 2 officers, who were not identified, are in stable condition, with one airlifted to a hospital in Morgantown, West Virginia, and a suspect was killed, WXPI reported.